Welcome in, everybody. Liam Murphy, multi-time best ball champion, here to draft some teams and hang out. Thank you for hitting the like and subscribe button on your way in. Kicking things off from the one hole on DraftKings. Been getting the one hole quite a bit past couple drafts. Always nice to get more Jahmyr Gibbs. Certainly possible that this year is the year Gibbs just absolutely destroys, and you kind of have to have the 101, an essential auto advance. Spent the morning updating my ranks over at beatbestball.com. That means fresh ranks for DraftKings, Underdog, Eliminator, and Drafters. Let me get this poll going right here. And then we'll talk more about that. Is this live? Yes, sir. This is live. Really do appreciate you guys for interacting. Helps grow the channel. Number goes up. Makes me feel good. Okay. For the beatbestball.com subs, want to talk about what I did to my ranks. Number one, currently I'm auto drafting a drafters as an experiment. Team's pretty cool. It's Dak, Goff, Love, Achane, Irving, Price, Lamb, Higgins, Diggs, Cooper, Hunter, Dell, Loveland, Ferg, Sadiq. Presets for me are 3, 6, 8, 3. So it's going to finish up with a couple more running backs and wide receivers. What I've done is I put a lot of energy into my Underdog and DraftKings main ranks. Like I manually do it. And what I did is I just made my Eliminator ranks a carbon copy of my main Underdog ranks, and I made my Drafters ranks a carbon copy of my DraftKings ranks. Now, this is not perfect, but it's like 99% of the way there. Minor tweaks is, like guys like thinking through guys like Malik Neighbors, Zach Charbonnet, and then specifically in the Eliminator, just how running back heavy it is. Went double 49ers backup. I still have these guys ranked as draftable. They're upside swings. Again, I'm auto drafting this as an experiment. Team will go as far as Achane, Irving, Price takes it. Obviously, Debo, a 49er, hurts a little bit. I'm going to do a drafters, not auto draft after this. Don't think JSN at 2 is that outrageous. I'm not fading Josh Jacobs. I'm not jamming him, though. I draft Josh Jacobs in the 4th round. Obviously, there is concern about his legal issues and was quite inefficient down the stretch last year. You can chalk that up to injury. However, he's kind of a plotter who's gotten a lot of carries over his career. So eventually the wheels do fall off for everyone. So make sure you check out beatbestball.com. Best ranks in the biz. What number DK Millie is this? Probably around 75. I'd have to check, though. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time, a recorded DraftKings 555 draft will be hitting the channel. Oof. Let's go Pickens and let's do Derrick Henry today. ADP of 19 falls to 25 here. Simply don't have any Derrick Henry with Gibbs. I've been taking Henry some when I have Jamar Chase, particularly for the Week 17 matchup. I'm pretty light on Henry overall, but on both platforms, I'm very open to the Chase Derrick Henry must-have combo potentially Week 17. And then yeah, on DK, just when he falls for unique purposes, why not mix him in? Do polls help the algorithm? I have no idea. I'm sure you liking helps, and that helps remind you of that. I maintain that I like Bucky and Gainwell both a lot. I have way more Gainwell than Bucky, but yeah, I could see a big season for either and or both. Greg Dortch, I'm not doing that. The Neighbors Rice combo, they're both very risky. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have that much FOMO of fourth round neighbors. I have teams with fourth round neighbors. Let's see what it autos for me. Caleb Douglas, cool. I have some fourth round neighbors, but he's not a guy who I'm like itching to draft. I did raise him in my ranks. I personally put him at the Devonta Smith line, where there comes a point where all these wide receiver bets are similar and neighbors can be more than that. But I maintain I have big worries about neighbors, the offense, everything. Him running routes is awesome. Let's see who it autos me here. James Conner. Honestly, could be a guy you have to have. Team finishes up on drafters, which is total points. Dak, Goff, Love, HN, Irving, Price, Jordan James, Kalen Black, Connor. If one of these dudes can be like this year's Kyron, woof. Lamb, Higgins, Sutton, Diggs, Cooper, Hunter, Tank, Douglas, Loveland, Ferg, Sadiq. Team seems good. Obviously, Goff and Love are not stacked, but that's not the biggest deal. You would prefer it, but you can get away without it. Both of them have so many weapons that potentially could get away with it. But yeah, the neighbor stuff, like I'm not doing this. I'm not going to take him here at 19 outside of me seeing like a drastic, like me just seeing him like torch corners every day. He doesn't practice some of the days. He'll probably have some setbacks. The Giants overall could be a concern. Some people have Jackson Dart ranked pretty low still as a passer. So, yeah. I'm still not viewing Neighbors as like prime Malik Neighbors. The Chargers are a tough one for me personally. I'm underweight Ladd. I'm underweight QJ. I'm underweight Herbert. I'm underweight Hampton. I don't fully want that to be the case. I actually love Justin Herbert. I like Mike McDaniel a lot. At the same time, Ladd, of course, big letdown last year. Potentially could be this year's JSN, was a very talented player as a rookie. Rondé Gadsden, I had to lower my ranks just because, there's rumors that he's running with the second team. I still think he's draftable and will be drafting him. I lowered him to some of the back tight ends. Okay, just because someone asked about Josh Jacobs, I'll take him here. And let's do him with DJ Moore today. I do JMO with Gibbs too much. I do Mike Evans too often. Pulling up DJ Moore here. Getting two guys I don't draft that much together, Henry and Jacobs. I like the start. Um, but yeah, the Chargers. Let's pull up their playoff schedule too via my Discord. Okay. 49ers at Miami, home against the Chiefs. Home against the Chiefs is really not the best game. It's like you want that game to be fun, but just often is not. 49ers may be super fun. At Miami may be super fun. So, yeah, they're players I just kind of need to like mix in more than I am. Hampton, particularly, I have some in the high stakes. I have the most of Gadsden, some Njoku. I have very little Lad, so I just need to take him sometimes. But it's tough. It's like T. Higgins is a super safe asset with a lot of upside. I'm very confident in Ibuka, Olave. You know, the running backs go there. I like Loveland a lot. I know Loveland is talented. Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to have a huge target share. There are some game script concerns of the Chargers as far as how fast the offense runs. So, particularly Lad, he's the one I want to just get. And because I don't draft Lad, I often don't draft Herbert because I typically don't draft quarterbacks with like the plan of being like, okay, and let me like go get Gadsden and backstack this. What up, Davis? I don't even think I have an account on NFC, so that's not going to happen. But help Davis out if you want to do that with him. Is this a meaningful data point to you? Trey Tucker put up 55 points with Geno Smith. As far as orders of business, I would recommend you go get the girlfriend first and let best ball be what it may. I would not let I would not be like, I need to win a contest and then go get a girlfriend. It's hard to win contests. It's hard to be in the green playing tournaments, period. I promise you, with or without a BBM win, I would have a girlfriend. McLaurin, I don't really have a great reason not to have as much of him. Other than that, he was just kind of like last year, as were the Commanders. So yeah, like Lad, just have some other guys I'm drafting more. Joe Burrow falls to the Jamar Chase drafter in this one. It does happen on DraftKings. Because I don't take Terry as much, I'm a little bit light on Jaden Daniels as well. I mean, like ultimately, guys, like I'm not trying to cover every base. Okay. There's going to be some bases I don't cover as a drafter. Why not? Let's go Daniels here. Let's go Jaden Reed with him. On DraftKings, you can get Jaden Reed at the next pick. It doesn't bother me. Team right now is Gibbs, Henry, Jacobs, Pickens, Moore, Daniels, Reed. We got a bet on the Packers. Jordan Love does fall to 120 quite a bit, so maybe that will be a second quarterback for me. Yeah, Chig's getting steam. I'm not there still. Like, I don't really view him as this worldly tight end to bet on. I did raise him a little bit. I'm still behind ADP. Sure, he could spike. So could a lot of tight ends. I'm not going to be like falling head over heels to get him. Falling head over heels to get him. I think it's more likely than not that Diggs is going to end up in Washington. Report today was like the team wants to see what they have at wide receiver. Well, I'll tell you what they have at wide receiver. They got Treylon Burks, who I almost ranked, and Luke McCaffrey. I think I literally just said, that does not bother me one bit. Could have easily gotten Reed with the next pick. I value him here. When I value a guy here and the market doesn't, I'm going to take him here rather than risk not getting him. And I'll just have a unique combo with it. I promise you, I can read the ADP of a player and the pick I'm picking at. Antonio Williams is also a guy I have very little of. Year after year, I draft these like Malachi Corleys, these rookies, and most don't pan out. So I'm mixing up this year and just not drafting these dudes. Jeremy Bernard. Like, I'm not really doing that much. Let's look at something real quick. Okay. These are the wide receivers drafted this year. So Omar Cooper, Deshaun Stribling, Denzel Boston. Then it goes Jeremy Bernard, Antonio Williams in the third, Malachi Fields in the third, Caleb Douglas in the third, who's getting some buzz. Branch in the third, he's getting buzz. Lane, obviously Brazel's out for the year. Ted Hurst, Xavier Thompson, who I've drafted occasionally. Chris Bell, who fell for injury reasons. All these guys were getting some buzz. I'm not really doing the Ravens guys, Lane and Surratt. I mainly keep it to these guys plus the guys who went in the second round or higher. The thing about Bernard is just we've done this with the Steelers with Roman Wilson, so he went high in the draft, but I don't know. I don't want a huge bag of him. Especially he's falling, so I'm getting some because I had none earlier, but I like Reed more than Golden, but I do draft both. I like Godwin way more than Pittman. I get the validity of Pittman. He is a good fit for Rodgers, but yeah. Seen a lot of running backs go, which is nice for me as a running back heavy start here. Sutton going after some of these guys is a little crazy. Okay, let's go Fannin. I think people just don't realize how big a season he could have. Let's go Fannin and Pitts today. Hope Jacoby Myers could make it back here for some week 17 correlation with Jaden Daniels, but not stressed if he doesn't. Don't have as much Pitts and don't fully want that to be the case. But it's pretty nice just to get two tight ends who are super high upside in different ways. Like Fannin, more PPR scammy. And Pitts just, we know what Kyle Pitts did. 49 points week 15. It's so worse when it's week 15 instead of week 16. Because week 15, you show up, you're like, let me get a team to the semis. Then I got a chance at the finals. And then, boom, you get Kyle Pitts. If these games are reversed, well, now it's so unlikely that Kyle Pitts even advances because his regular season was eh. So you're just not likely to be in a pod with him. I would just get mine, but do what you want. Talk me into DJ Moore. Super high upside. Let's pull up the clip of him torching three dudes at practice today. Pads went on at the Bills practice today. Khalil Shakir said, well, the Bills reporters have been saying DJ Moore definitely not washed. Khalil Shakir and the doubters. I think whoever's saying that should probably delete their social media. And I said, Davis, what's the status of your social media? Here's the clip. Josh Allen, bomb down the field, 50 yards, triple covered. These are the Bills' three top secondary members, by the way. Touchdown. So do what you want, but I certainly want some DJ Moore 50-point upside. And think about what Kyle Pitts could do or what Kyle Pitts did last year. DJ Moore can do that. We've seen it before. I don't think Jonathan Brooks not playing in the Hall of Fame game is meaningful at all. On underdog, I'd probably stop at 2 with Fannin and Pitts, even with the same buy. On DK, probably not. Probably will get the third. Ton of quarterbacks going in this one. Yeah, Shakir is practicing, so I guess he's just fine. Come on, man. You don't remember Josh Jacobs that one time? I mean, my lean is Jordan James for the 49ers. However, Debo really complicates things there. Okay, we do get Jacoby Myers, which is very nice. Now, I was planning to do Diggs here, but I'm going to do Krosky Merritt with Jaden instead. I just like the Krosky Merritt bet a lot. I like it more than the Rachaad White bet. Obviously, Jaden, Krosky Merritt on the same team. and Jacoby Myers plays them week 17. So the team right now is Gibbs, Pickens, Henry, Jacobs, DJ Moore, Jaden Daniels, Jaden Reed, Harold Fannin, Kyle Pitts, Jacoby Myers, and Krosky Merritt. Diggs ADP is 137. There's a chance he wraps to 144, though. Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah, had to. I mean, I maintain that I like the Sadiq bet, but had to lower him in the ranks a little bit because he, I think, had a minor setback from his hernia surgery. So it's probably going to take him a couple weeks. Maybe it impacts early season play, but I think eventually, I mean, the dude went so high in the draft, he's going to play football. Well, I think the report, the Gainwell, it feels as if free agent Kenny Gainwell should be on the field a lot. Sometimes long Bucky Irving and 2 tailback pony sets. Gainwell made plays all over the field Thursday, particularly in the passing game. His presence is obvious, and he's usually one of the first names mentioned when talking to people with the team about the offense. Irving is a proven contributor and is eager to rebound after a down season, but Gainwell is a good stash option for high volume of receptions mixed with timely runs. So yeah, I've been drafting a ton of Gainwell. Just yesterday, though, I interpreted Jacob Sanderson's tweet as negative for Gainwell. An update on Gainwell: he has not been utilized much as a running back. Instead, has made him the safety valve, and he's gotten a lot of work on the receiver out of the backfield. That has come on flat routes, haven't been explosive plays. Bucky Irving has had more chances and looked better. The offense has utilized 21 personnel to get Irving and Gainwell on the field. So I kind of thought this was like Jacob victory lapping, not having Gainwell and having Bucky. I think that's what he's trying to do here. So it's ironic that the positive Gainwell blurb comes out a day later. But yeah, I maintain liking the bet. Of course, it's possible he goes back to just not getting this. Like, this was outrageous last year. But I don't really see why you sign him and don't involve him in this capacity. They replaced Mike Evans with Kenny Gainwell. It's simple. Fair point. Diggs goes, so I don't get him to go with Jaden. Chig goes as well. Josh Downs is another dude who, I mean, I've had tons of Josh Downs over the years. It's just kind of expensive to me this year. So I raised them a bit in the ranks, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like Josh Downs or Dalton Kincaid. Who would I rather have straight up? The answer is Dalton Kincaid. Josh Downs or Kyle Pitts. Who would I rather have straight up? Kyle Pitts. Downs or Fannin. Who would I rather have? Fannin. Downs or Jackson Dart. Dart. Downs or Purdy. Purdy. So I don't value him as this, like, you know, near tier of Parker Washington and co that people are doing. I get the bullishness. Pittman's gone, but that's how I view it. Yeah, Alec Pierce, I mean, wasn't drafting him at the when he used to go at like the Jaden Daniels turn, but as he falls, drafting a lot of him. Jaden Blue, like the bet. I think I gotta grab a QB here. So let's go Stroud and Chris Rodriguez. This team has a lot more running back firepower than I typically build, but pretty reasonable to build teams like this year and just backload with wideouts. Pickens, Moore, Reed, Myers holding on the wide receiver. Rodriguez adds to the Jags bet for the Jaden Daniels or the Commanders Jacksonville game. Stroud, I have Jacobs and Reed, so the plan is to backstack CJ Stroud. Will you watch the Flock League? Is this the last draft? No. I'm planning to hang for a bit. Will you watch the Flock League next week just to see Davis playing Unk? I am curious. I like Davis, so yeah, I'm curious of how Davis will interact with these guys. Flock is, the best at this. Full disclosure, I've never watched any of his stuff, though. I've never watched this, Flock League stuff. I think it appeals probably to, younger people, casual fantasy football bros. But yeah, I think it is an interesting mix of him with these dudes. The Kamara blurb of him being the third down back. I mean, I have a ton of Kamara, almost an uncomfortable amount. But yeah, I think he's a reasonable bet. If I got in the Flock draft and got a chance to draft for 100K, instead, what I would say is I've been watching this for years, and you too should. So yes, I can be bought on that. Luther Burden got banged up at practice. Doesn't sound that serious. I think he just got hit hard. Keaton Mitchell, a reasonable bet? I mean, I think Keaton Mitchell's been a reasonable bet all year. Davis is loudest about being into Keaton Mitchell, but I've always drafted some Keaton Mitchell. Davis in a house with a bunch of young kids getting drunk sounds like his Sisyphus nightmare. Yeah, I don't think Davis has a bunch of bad takes. He is, though, very stubborn at some spots. And he's also not he doesn't naturally diversify. It's not like, oh, I'll go Worthy here sometimes. I'll go, whatever, Wandale here sometimes. I go Worthy. It's DJ Moore is a 0. It's Luther Burden is the best. That's obviously an oversimplification, but. And you know what? Everyone's allowed to change and improve at this game. I try to constantly. When I draft Josh Allen or Trey McBride, I am not going 3 at the onesies in the eliminator. Big update changes to my ranks. Deleted Ricky Pearsall, moved up Debo, moved up Stribling. I still think Stribling's very live to disappoint at this cost. One of the risks of him now is that he's going around guys. This is a range that I'm just very confident someone's going to be a big hit. Diggs, Coker, Shakir, McMillan, Debo, Shaheed, Dobbs, Higgins. I know some of these guys are going to be big hits this year. So Stribling kind of better. Or if he's Trey Harris, that is a big problem as far as opportunity costs. I don't think anyone cannot come around to Parker Washington. Because if you do so, you're going against the team, the coach every day, every beat reporter. So anyone who consumes news, fortunately for me, a lot of the high stake guys were not into Parker Washington. And this is why I like to draft early, is like I just have good intuition of how these things go. Like I did not need any of this to know what I watched last year. I watched Parker Washington be an absolute elite player, period. Okay, Dalton Schultz, Texan. Let's just do this. Let's do Schultz and Tank. Both stacked with CJ Stroud. But yeah, I know what I saw with Parker Washington. I know what he was. I saw what he did in the real NFL playoffs. I still think it's possible that Brian Thomas Jr. just has another level and that's a problem, or Travis Hunter, blah, blah, blah. But I thought most likely, like, this dude is unreal. So, Benjamin him. I don't have a ton of Ken Walker, but it's not a comfortable fade. Like, I certainly see the case where the Chiefs are like, okay, this year we just kind of have to commit to the run super hard because of you know, Mahomes off injury, and they've kind of sucked. Jalen Smith and the jailer. I did bump up Saquon a little bit in the ranks. I still don't have a ton of him, but he's draftable. And fortunately, Henry, who I'm lighter on, like he's falling on underdog too. So I'm gonna guess what's happening is like big fantasy football is highlighting Saquon, and no one's just like talking about Henry, and that matters to casual drafters. This is not a situation I draft with a lot of confidence. Chiefs RB2. Chiefs RB2, Ravens wide receiver 3. Just not spots I do a ton. Still think Tank Dell could be a 0, but I mean, the team account tweeting him, why not? Michael Wilson, I got plenty of as well. Goes way later on underdog than DK. So done at 3 tight ends for sure. If there's a third quarterback that I like, I'd do it. But seeing how as Tua just got drafted, I'm gonna assume that answer is no. So probably just gonna draft 5 wide receivers to end this and build a 2-5-10-3. Live with the running back room of Gibbs, Henry, Jacobs, Krosky, Merritt, Rodriguez. Live with the quarterback room of Jaden and Stroud, the tight end room of Fannin, Pitts, and Schultz. And then admit that wide receiver is my shakiest position. So let's get 10 dudes and figure it out from there. I've debated ranking James Cook over Jonathan Taylor. I do have him ranked over CMC. Think James Cook, again, like safety is part of the equation in fantasy football, and James Cook is way safer than Christian McCaffrey. The only reason I didn't rank him straight up over JT is just how good JT was last year, and Daniel Jones is getting positive reports. As someone that's not drafting the Colts passing game as much, kind of hoping, even if the Colts do run it back, that it's through JT. I think all these like running back bets are going a little bit up from like tank plus. Okay. Now I'm going to do Booty because I still think there's a chance he gets traded to the Commanders. And since we're taking 10 guys, let's go Zachariah Branch. Let's get a rookie on the squad. I'm going to go fill this water and be right back. Over here. Hello. Probably going to do 3 drafts today. My longest in a minute. I stack in the eliminator sometimes. Speaking of, let's make some slow draft picks. I can finally rest where my ranks are up to date. You know, here I went Joe Burrow with Chase Brown. All right, let's just take Gainwell. The eliminator, more so than any other format, you just need to break your strict ranks and get some running backs sometimes. Again, if you missed it, I updated all my ranks. Do 2 running backs for like, let's go Mekhi Lemon. Why not? He's got a hamstring injury. I lowered him in the ranks. Yeah, why not? DJ Moore to go with Josh Allen. And today, let's do Jadarian Price. I don't put that much thought into these slow drafts. Parker Washington, what's there to think about? Let's go Dak Prescott. Stacked. Week 14 bye. I want to throw some wide receivers in the queue just to ensure that I do not auto a different position. We got 3 platforms open. It's not. I'm not like, oh, I need to draft a team in September. It's getting to the point where, you know, I got to draft more often at night. I might have to do some slow drafts. Like, you know, life comes quick. I would say my big takeaway this year and most years is I wish I did more draft volume earlier. right? Gone is cheap Debo. Gone is cheap Stribling. What big values have we learned? Parker Washington, I already knew that one. Ricky Pearsall drafted. I play this game. Was Ricky Pearsall drafted in my latest DraftKings draft? The answer is usually yes. um, like truly, like what big news have we learned? Okay. Still like the Christian Kirk bet. One of the beat reporters though did opine that he could be cut, which is worrying. So don't want to draft him every time. I don't really see why they would cut him unless he is truly like done. Pat Bryant and Bateman seem two very reasonable wideouts to tack on. Bateman adds to the Derrick Henry bet. Traylon Burks round 20. Honestly, I've been probably debating that. I don't have him ranked yet, but I don't think it's crazy to have a share of him. Like I took Xavier Legette on a Bryce Young team. Okay, this team is super RB heavy here. So let's get some wideouts on the squad. Double Jags wideouts. Let's see if there's any RJ Harvey buzz on the Twitters. Sean Payton, very complimentary on RJ Harvey, especially his instincts and intelligence. I had almost no RJ Harvey last year. Right. So, like, I'm not like, I had a bunch of Josh Downs last year. I don't this year. I had no RJ Harvey last year. I'm drafting him this year. This is July. It's kind of old. Hurt his shoulder in camp last year. That'd be a reason why he has a slow start. I can beat any linebacker in the league. Probably true. Praise for RJ Harvey. This is what we like. Little clips of tape. Okay. Here's an old one. Actually, that one I should probably not play before big NFL comes down with the hammer. Do I keep Pollard or Kittle? Are there any other options, dude? Kittle of that too. I think even in a season, it's okay to change your stance, right? Like if you were of the opinion Parker Washington sucks, probably should change that opinion. If the Luther Burden hype train continues for another couple weeks, I'll get a couple teams with him. So, pretty good team here that ended up with a week 17 game stack of 2 games. Packers, Texans, and Commanders, Jags. Hoping that Booty will end up on the Commanders. Ayuk, yeah, I'm not deleting Ayuk from the ranks, that's for sure. Let's do Caleb Douglas. He's getting buzz. Why not? Another rookie. We got 10 dudes. Team finishes up Gibbs, Pickens, Henry, Jacobs, DJ Moore, Daniels, Reed, Fannin, Pitts, Myers, Krosky Merritt, CJ Stroud, Chris Rodriguez, Dalton Schultz, Tank Dell, Kayshawn Boutte, Zachariah Branch, Pat Bryant, Rashad Bateman, and Caleb Douglas. Very easy to like teams like this, where you start running back heavy and then you just throw a bunch of wideouts on there. Doesn't always work out that way in practice, but easy to like. Shout out DraftKings. Again, I will have a 5-5-5 drafting tomorrow. Let's jump over to Drafters and try my fresh ranks there. Let's give it a bit, and I'll give away a Drafters ticket. Drafters a little bit over or approaching halfway filled. It would be so funny if Ayuk and the 49ers figured it out. I mean, I have Ayuk ranked in the 240s, which I think is fine. Similar to Tyreek Hill. I have Ayuk ranked amongst these guys. Pop Douglas, Andre Yoshivas. So you're never going to get them if you just top click the ranks. But if you're not up and running on Drafters, it's a total points platform, PPR, meaning whoever scores the most points weeks 1 through 17 wins the contest. I do need 8 more of you to draft with me if we're going to fill this bad boy. Promo code Chesliam will get you a deposit match. I have no idea if Drafters takes PayPal deposits. If other platforms do, probably. This is a situation I want to read up more, but I can tell you that Jordan Mason is getting more expensive and Aaron Jones is cheapening. And I still don't really want to do too much of Minnesota running back. Help me fill this bad boy, guys, so we can kick this off. If you're new here, today's Total Points Tuesday, so we always do a Drafters draft on Tuesday. Now that I have my ranks in for Drafters, I'm going to be autoing some teams on the other days while I draft normally. And I'm not going to auto it just straight because that would give me the same combos a lot at the top. I'm probably going to make the first 2 picks or so and then auto. Do need 5 more here. Three more. Let's look at some of my early drafters. I didn't do as many this year early on. My first team was a Kyler Darnold Mendoza team. James Cook, Price, Dobbins, Jordan Mason, Tracy, Kamani Vidal, Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Tate, Reed, Sutton, Yoshivas, Kate Otten, Njoku, Colby Parkinson, and Elijah Royho. Honestly, pretty fun team. It's weakest at QB, but if I get the points there, feels strong at wide receiver and running back. It's got some guys who have gone up in price, such as Jordan Mason. Wouldn't call my tight end room rosy, but there's 4 of them. No clear zeros. No huge values either. I got 4th round T. Higgins. Cook and Jefferson comboed is a pretty nice. Going to be somewhat unique. The second one, JSN, Henry, Brees, DJ Moore, Jamison Williams, Chris Godwin, RJ Harvey, Jordan Addison, Harold Fanning, Kyler Murray again, Krosky Merritt, Darnold, Stroud, Hawkinson, Ayuk, Njoku, Tank Dell, Kamani Vidal, Torrey Horton, and Malik Davis. Yeah, my early teams have some Malik Davis and some Jaden Blue. I think it just filled. Nope, 2 more. Promo code Cheslium. So yeah, every Tuesday I draft a drafters, and I also give away a free ticket, but you need to have an account. My third one, Cook and Achane, T. Higgins and Garrett Wilson, Lamar, Henderson and Harvey, Mekhi Lemon, Goff, Wandale Robinson, Mason, Coker, Juwan Johnson, Sadiq, Malik Washington, Stribling at 182, Terrence Ferguson, Jerry Jeudy, Keon Coleman, and Kalen Black. Team seems pretty sick. Not stacked, really. Just interesting choice by me and or auto experiment. One more for drafters. Gibbs, Pickens, Jeremiah Love, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Tyler Warren, Metcalf, Ricky Pearsall, Rip. Stafford, Fannin, Mayfield, Woody Marks, Tajay Spears, Omar Cooper, Geno Smith, Alvin Kamara, Kate Otten, Keyshawn Booty, Jeremy Bernard, Kalen Black. Seems reasonable. One more for drafters. Big dog. I'm doing my live drafters, otherwise I would. And I don't want to take your money, Davis. Most people's, I'll gladly take. All right, let's make 2 picks and then give away a free ticket. Hello, R-Hacks. Yes, the sound notification is very nice. Good luck. Again, if you're not up and running on drafters, promo code Cheslium, along with their main one, the link's in the YouTube description. They have their own version of the Eliminator, which is a survival. It's basically the Eliminator, except instead of head-to-head, they do a cut line. If I remember correctly, I think I helped you win a daily on Underdog last year or something. I don't remember exactly. I do remember you saying something in the Discord, though. WSOP is tough. Tournaments are tough, though. I mean, Best Ball Spears here says, if a best ball company's no players out for the year, why do they leave the player in the draft? They do not manipulate the ranks at all, and that's how it should be. ADP manipulates the ranks, aka the literal decisions of people. So once people stop drafting, let's go JT. Once people stop drafting Pearsall, he will go down. But they should not manipulate. Like that's on you as a drafter. They should not be holding your hand. Do I have any teams with both McBride and Bowers? Yes. Yeah, I helped you with the NBA playoffs. Asked for general advice and then shipped it. See, I don't even know anything about the NBA, but he just asked for advice. I answered it, and boom. What's your Discord? I'll try to find that, Grant man. Who am I going with Taylor today? Let's go Saquon today. Very little Saquon. Think he's better in a total points platform. I think it's G-Man or something. Grant man. Okay, actually, I don't know how to. I don't really know how to do that on Discord. Doesn't matter. So you were upset that you got auto drafted Ricky Pearsall. That's on you, big dog. I'm sorry. You know, we all got to do our task. In your case, changing laundry, but you could have put players in your queue. You could have kept your phone with you. You could have put in ranks that delete Ricky Pearsall like I do. So at the end of the day, don't cry foul about why don't the platforms do this. Take the steps so it doesn't happen to you again. How to enter drafters ticket giveaway? Great question. After I make these 2 picks, I'm going to put a 15-second timer on. At that point, you're going to just start spamming your name like so, okay? And I just highlight the name. When the timer goes to 0, whatever name's at the bottom, like I'm doing right now, that person will win the ticket, as long as they haven't won recently. So what you should do right now is, if you're not on your desktop, probably go on your desktop because it's probably harder on mobile. Maybe you can do it on mobile as well. You have to actually have a drafters account. If you don't have a drafters account, you can't win the ticket. So sign up now if you haven't, for next week as well. You're going to post your drafters username. Okay, we're going Garrett Wilson. T. Higgins. Your drafters username, okay? And then I will give the ticket to whatever name it goes to 0. So, okay, are you guys ready? After this pick, I'm going to put on the timer. And what I recommend you do if you're on desktop, Control C, which is copy, Control V, enter. That way you can spam it. If you spam it too much, then you might get spam locked. Don't start it yet. Don't start yet. I've not started the timer, man. I'm going to make this pick first. Some people are already starting. I guess technically you can just fire it off at random and try to time it. And I always look at, because I DM drafters on Twitter. I'm going to make my pick first. I'm not starting it yet. Okay. Kyron. All right. You guys ready? Post your drafters username in chat. When this goes to 0, I'm highlighting the name. That person wins the ticket as long as they did not win recently. Shout out drafters for giving away free tickets to people. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm only laughing because he's been talking in chat, but I just had the bottom highlighted, and as you guys talk, it moves. All right, guys. Sorry. This week it was Grant Man. Let me make sure you haven't won recently, Grant. Nope. Last couple ticket winners is not including Grant Man. Grant Man won today's ticket. They will give you the ticket. You don't got to message me about it. It's not rigged. I know he was chatting before, so it's funny, but sorry if you did not win. I will give away another free ticket next week. Sometimes you got to call your shot. He said, I need to win this ticket. Grant Man is Liam's girlfriend's account. Kids aren't going to eat because I didn't get the ticket. Oh, God, Petey. No. I need to win BBM and the DK Millie. Look, guys, there's 200 plus of you hanging out. Only one person can get the ticket. I'm sorry. Is what it is. Fortunately, though, we got next Tuesday to give away a ticket. Maybe I'll be doing some more drafter streams too. Anyways, my start right now is Taylor, Barkley, Higgins, and Kyron Williams. Kyron's a guy I do not have a ton of, but fourth round, why not? I have very little Cam Scatterbo. A recent quote was like, we're trying to find room for Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary. And I was like, oh, yikes. That's really not really what you want to hear if you're taking Scatterbo in the fourth round, which I do not. Now, this is a SI.com, and I think their articles are terrible. No offense to the writer. But the quote was with Tyrone Tracy, first name listed, Cam Scatterbo, Devin Singletary, and Greg Roman's power-based rushing scheme, Big Blue is betting that the system and depth matter more than having one superstar running back. So I don't know if she's doing this for clickbaity. I think some of the stuff has been clickbaity. But yeah, that's the quote. I need wide out way more than running back, so we'll go Christian Watson. Oh, Rico Dowdle? I like both of the Steelers running backs. I like Warren more than Dowdle, but I draft Dowdle as well. I think at least one of them will be a big hit with Rodgers. This is only my 10th drafter, so probably going to have to start multi-tabling here or something. You know what? Today I feel like doing Burrow. Taylor, Barkley, Higgins, Kyron, Christian Watson, and Burrow. Very weak at wide receiver, but time to fix that. Have not been playing any PLO. Frankly, don't have any time for poker until probably the NFL season starts. Just moved, plus fantasy football. So yeah, won't be playing for a while, I would imagine. Happy you faded Pearsall like I did, but let's have some class. I recommend you do not victory lap injuries. Drop some propaganda in the drafters chat. Watch Liam Murphy on YouTube. Oh, God. This chair is so uncomfortable. I need to charge my phone. This is rude. This dude won the ticket and he said no. Yeah, I mean, to be clear, why I was lower on Pearsall is I had questions about his talent, and I did not think he was guaranteed to be the wide receiver too, is a big reason. I did not think he was going to be out for the season, right? That was not part of my process. It's a tough adjustment going back to these 30-second clocks from the 20-second ones. I'm gonna message the drafters dude and see if he will consider doing the 20 seconds. Okay. We need wide outs bad. Save me, Michael Wilson. You're my only hope. I think that's a Star Wars thing. I don't know. Gainwell's ADP is so much higher on drafters. I texted him for the people and I said, you should change it to 20 seconds. It's brutal going from underdog to 30 seconds. Let's do Alec Pierce or RJ Harvey. Let's do Harvey. Bill, yet another good running back. Seems good. Be right back. Honestly, it's kind of shocking that underdog gave us 20-second clocks. Parker Washington is now Liam Cohen's emergency contact. What would I say to Davis if I won BBM again? When do you want to stream, brother? My team right now, JT, Saquon, T. Higgins, Kyron, Christian Watson, Joe Burrow, Michael Wilson, and RJ Harvey. Someone said if Michael Wilson had a stable QB, he'd be a 4th-round pick. Yeah. Realistically, he'd probably go around Washington, right? Honestly, I've been busy. I didn't even look at the chairs yet. Ooh, a little trash talk here. Esposito said, Senors, why do you keep sniping me for no reason? Let's check it out. Esposito has Josh Allen. So I don't really know. Oh, because he took DJ Moore. And he also took Stafford, who he wanted because of Puka. I'm gonna guess that Senors is just doing what he wants, man. Just my guess. Chat feature is hilarious, though. Dang. Alec Pierce goes, who I was gonna maybe take at the last pick. Let's go Jacoby Myers. Mr. Steady. He'll have some touchdowns. Game logs last year, which you guys can't see. You know, he hit the lineup sometimes. Not the biggest spikes. I think a chat on DK would be wild. This is a standing desk. It's a desk that raises up and down. But not going to stand for a 3-hour stream or whatever. See, fair point. If he wanted Stafford so bad, maybe take him over Wandale. I think I might as well go Jordan Love here. Christian Watson, single week upside type of guy. Easily could be a guy you have to have if he can just have a lot of games like this. 22, 25, 18, 20. Romeo Dobbs out of town. With Burrow and Jordan Love, probably just going to stop at 2 QB. Again, I analyzed the data for 2 years, a couple years ago for top scoring teams at beatbestball.com. And the top 10 teams, more often than not, were going a little bit lighter at QB. 2.3 QBs on average. Roughly 2.3 QBs, right? Top team this year, Dak and Stafford. This year, Dak and Purdy. This year, Dak. This one was 3 QB. This year, Fields and Goff, Dak and Russ, Herbert and Stafford, Lamar and Stroud, Dak and Cousins. So don't get me wrong, it's hard to do 2 QB, but you know what else it's hard to do? It's hard to win. So that's what I'm trying to do, although difficult. Senor said, I think you blocked me on YouTube comments many moons ago. I'm going to guess that was for a good reason. There's not that many people blocked. And you know what? A guy drafting an unstacked team for the most part, also not surprised that that's the guy who's blocked. In college, I majored in economics and I ran a regression analysis on. Actually, let's find it. I got it somewhere here. I ran a regression analysis on trying to predict the success of wide receivers in the NFL by analyzing combine data and college stats. And what it found was this article is like 200 pages. It took me forever. Basically, it found that like three cone was super predictive, and that was pretty much it. I don't. This thing is so long. Maybe I'll read it one day. Let me make my picks first. Sure, Dallas Goddard. So yeah, it couple things stand out from that analysis to me was, well, number one, again, what was super predictive? Three cone. What drill do a lot of guys not run anymore? Three cone. Probably why. Um, and then like AJ Brown, or no, Antonio Brown had the worst broad jump in like the whole data set. It also, like, my model thought that Stevie Johnson would be a success in the NFL. So, like, that's an example of a guy who was a hit. Ferguson, Concepcion. Let's go with the rookie today. Was three going predictive in the aggregate? Yeah, like I had to do some bootstrap stuff. Let me try to find this thing. Let me just try to find the summary. Okay, conclusion. It's been a long time since I've looked at this paper. I did send it to Mike Leone off the cuff just one time, just being like, "Hey, do you find this meaningful at all?" And he was kind of just like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "All right." Okay. The results of this paper are nothing but promising. The daunting task of a performance prediction regression certainly started a little rocky. The predictive power of the independent variables included was not looking good until the seasons played dummy variables were implemented. So basically, since most players in the NFL fail to play at all, the data was too noisy. So I had to assume, like, what if this guy plays for a year? What if this guy plays for 2 years? What if this guy plays for 3 years? This discovery, and thus the idea for the repeat dummy variable strategy, is one of the most significant lessons of this paper. By including 15 independent variables, three cone drill, height log, weight log, yards per reception log, final season yards as percent of total yards, final season receptions, touchdowns per game, average quarterback rating squared, blah, 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 blah. I got an adjusted R squared as high as 0.684. Honestly, I did this in a month. So not that much time, being able to predict roughly 68% of a wide receiver's yards and touchdowns, which I converted the touchdowns into yards, is pretty awesome. The results of this promising regression suggest wide receivers who want to be successful in the NFL should train to lower their three cone drill time. They should also bring their A game when in the red zone in college, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of sources. Let me try to find the final formula. This was like my senior thesis. Basically, without adding the dummy variables, like it was like the regression was like 0.1, 0.2, whatever, you know? Let me make my drafters picks and then I'm looking for the best one. I think it's regression one. Okay. The function for this regression was, and I tried to like email NFL teams and like go work in their analytics and whatnot. The natural log equals a function of three cone height squared, weight squared, yards per reception squared, blah, 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 a lot of stuff. Regression 1 includes 5 combine variables, 3 collegiate variables, and 5 NFL team variables. Regression 1 was decided as one of the best regressions because all the variables have expected signs, the adjusted R squared is high, and there are several significant coefficients. The adjusted R squared for the model is 0.684. In other words, this means that 68.4% of the variation for the natural log of the wide receiver NFL value after being adjusted for the independent variables included is explained by this model, and about 32% is left unexplained. The F ratio for the regression 1 is 22.785 through an F table with a numerator degrees of freedom of 15 and a denominator degrees of freedom of 136. An F crit of 1.7405 is found. I don't even know what this stuff means anymore. Just took Travis Hunter. The F ratio is greater than the F crit, thus the null hypothesis is rejected and the alternative hypothesis is confirmed. This means the regression is statistically significant, which means basically it's not random. Through a t-table, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I don't remember all this stuff. Oh, here, this is the regression though. If you want to run this now, like that's probably something I should do because I have the model. I have my model here. So I could on my site, and maybe I should do this and not give out this data, is I could run my old model, which of course, like it's fitting data, so it's not perfect, but I could run it on the current NFL crop and predict the success of these guys in the NFL and be like, hey, I have a wide receiver model. Now the problem is I need the 3-cone drill. So if a guy didn't run the 3-cone drill, I'm not getting it. So like if I look up KC Concepcion's RAS, I can't predict this because look what all these guys are doing now. They're not giving me the agility. Like the KC Concepcion didn't do anything. Omar Cooper Raz. Omar Cooper, I couldn't do it either. He didn't give me the agility, right? So I've thought about doing this in the past, but I can't. And again, I've not touched this stuff for so long. I believe they were linear regressions too, which is not perfect. Like there's a lot of better ways to do this. But for what I accomplished in like a month, it was pretty good, I would say. My I'm trying to find the data set because I want to see if I listed it in this. I mean, I wrote this 100-page paper in like a month. I'm trying to find this. I don't know if I listed the full player data set in this. I probably did not. I don't know where I would find that at this point. The thing that I think is, I'm not even read any of your comments, so I'll go back and do that. But the thing that I remember my professor being like shocked at, she's this like older lady, economics professor, great teacher. But she was like, man, the Gadsden fall is like, why not? 178. He's going to play some football. She was like, well, why aren't you trying to predict quarterbacks? And to me, that answer was like kind of obvious, where it's like, I didn't do running backs because I think running back is just like easy to predict. I didn't do QB because I didn't really think that college stats and combine stats predicts a quarterback's success in the NFL. I think the number one position to do that with is wide receiver. Claude would change a lot. The number one thing that Claude would have been helpful with is just to get the actual data. That was a pain in the ass. I had to, like, go to NFL and go to all these like, it was very difficult just to put together the actual data. TJ Hawkinson, 3rd tight end, plays in the Packers division, why not? So, yeah, stats I liked a lot. Interesting to me you did all this analysis, but aren't someone who gets too into the weeds with using data. Yeah, I it is interesting because I literally watch a lot of football and I use my intuition a lot too, to be honest. It's like I'm sure I could do this stuff, but it's a lot of work that and I don't know how meaningful it is. I wonder if the regression would strengthen when smoothed for difference in wide receiver types. See, this is something I've thought about more in recent years that I didn't do, right? Like I didn't do, I think, regression like you're correct. The better regression would be stronger on 3 cone for slot than say outside or like, yes, I agree with you, which I didn't do that, right? Like I just did a catch all, but I'm sure if I did like the 3 cone for the slot is probably way higher, you know? This was my senior thesis paper to graduate my senior year. Chat's popping off. Sen yours is just going off here. Couple F bombs being dropped. Senor confirmed what I said. He said, I don't give a F what you do, Esposito. I'm drafting my team. So yeah, who knows? Like I just graduated college and I was like, how do you get hired? I think I emailed DraftKings and I tried to work for them in analytics. I didn't really know how do you apply for analytics for an NFL team? I didn't know how to do that. But yeah, that would have been a different path for me. Probably would not have won best ball contest, but if you're doing analytics for an NFL team, they're probably not going to let you draft best ball teams. I think I also at the time was like, I want to do this for the Bills, but I don't know if I want to live in Buffalo. Anyways, I'm sure some of you found that interesting and some of you did not. Let's do Justice Hill, same division as Joe Burrow. You've picked an interesting channel to hang out in. I'm scrolling my paper right now. Let's go Pat Bryant. Why not? I want to read this dummy variable thing because I still am a little shaky. My professor was the one who thought about doing that. She was like, "Oh, you should do dummy variables. Like that will help." Because I kept running these analysis and like nothing was coming back, and like I was like gonna fail. By the way, like other people were doing like regressions on, um, like prices of houses and stuff like that. I'm seeing a Parker Washington tweet every time I open the app. Maybe, Kev, if I had gotten in at the ground floor as an analytics guy and fused my NFL talent and worked 17-hour days, maybe I could become a GM, but it does seem like a tough industry to break into. If you are a stat expert and want to look over my paper, leave a comment or reach out to me. Maybe I'll allow you. Basically, I had to convert, like, there was another paper where someone converted touchdowns into yards, and then I took that to try to predict yards of a wide receiver would get. Okay, seasons played dummy variable. So this is interesting, I think. For wide receivers who did not have NFL performance data for all of their first 3 eligible years, their receiving totals were still divided by 3. This certainly dampens their wide receiver NFL value, which is a catch-all for yards, even if they had a spectacular 1 or 2 years. The thought process for this consequence was twofold. It was thought appropriate to dampen the values for wide receivers who did not play all 3 years would not be as valuable as those who did to NFL teams. Meaning, if you couldn't play your freshman year or sophomore year, maybe you weren't as good. Um, Specifically, the dampening effect would be most appropriate for players who were not good enough, re-injured, got into legal trouble, or were not dedicated. Adding dummy variables for seasons played captures the effect playing only 1 or 2 seasons has. If anyone knows stats, I used SPSS to do this. Now, stuff like R is used a lot more. Yeah, SPSS. Some stat guys hanging out. A couple stat guys, and then Mr. Black Ops saying, I had a scary thought last night. Roman Wilson may be who you need. Hashtag balance. Sure. Andre Yoshivas. It's not going to be a 0. 6th running back or 10th wide receiver. 4th tight end, also reasonable with Gadsden being a question mark. I think I'll do 10th wide receiver. I got 3 early. I got Harvey in the mids. Why not? Another wide receiver. Take Skylar Bell today. Team finishes up Burrow, Jordan Love, JT, Saquon, Kyron, Harvey, Hill, T. Higgins, Watson, Michael Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper, Travis Hunter, Pat Bryant, Andre Yoshiva, Skylar Bell, Goddard, Gadsden, Hawkinson. Phew. I'm not done here. I just want to read this thing, and then I'm going to do another draft. Actually, let's read it together. Maybe some of you find it interesting. And if you don't, just chill for a second. I think I explained earlier why I didn't go 3 QB. As far as actually building the best team, a super team, 2 QB is a little bit better than 3. At first, the goal of this paper was very similar to that of these guys. This is say the hope was to predict performance of wide receivers in the NFL based on the data available before they were in the NFL. However, after running several regressions, a new idea surfaced. It was becoming quite apparent from both the literature and this paper's regression results that use of an OLS regression model with the current variables gathered was not going to result in an adjusted R squared that would outperform the scouts or perhaps even a fan in predicting performance of wide receivers. That is not to say that the adjusted R squared could not have been improved upon by the use of metrics, indices, in interactive terms. However, as time was limiting, the exploration of these tactics was not reasonable. It has been observed that a large number of wide receivers in this data set did not record a single noteworthy receiving statistics for 1 or 2 seasons out of their first 3 eligible seasons. As noted, so basically because most wide receivers drafted don't get any yards, it's hard to predict everyone, if you include them all. As noted previously, this was dampening their wide receiver NFL values, which that is yards plus touchdowns converted to yards. The question then became by how much so? To answer that question, separate dummy variables were introduced for players who only played 1 or 2 seasons rather than all 3 seasons. The effect of including them was astonishing. As seen in table 12 below, the best regression in terms of adjusted R squared pre and post dummy variables inclusion are shown. The dummy variables structure to the model, the adjusted R squared raised from a 0.143. So without the dummy variables, I was predicting with just the college stats and the combine stats, I was predicting 14% success. Maybe we should be worried about some other people's models that are doing that. But when I included the dummies, I got it up to 0.68. That is to say, the model pre-inclusion was explaining 14% and after 68%. This lent credence to the thought that only playing 1 or 2 seasons rather than 3 was having an important negative effect on the dependent variable. The dummy variables were both negative and statistically significant at the 5% level. So table 12 here goes from adjusted R squared to 0.14. It's expected readers of other people are thinking, hey, that's cheating. It's impossible to know how many seasons a wide receiver would play in the NFL before he got there. Similar thoughts were at first echoed by the author of this paper, meaning I didn't first think of this because how do you know if a guy's going to play 2 years, 3 years, only 1 year? However, rational thinking did prevail in the end. There are several ways that the use of dummy variables allows for ingenious predictive power. One could simply create a spread through applying, or not in the case of 3 seasons of play, the appropriate coefficient value of the dummy variable for predicting wide receiver success before they entered the NFL. An example of this is to the tune of if a wide receiver plays 1 season, they are predicted to catch X amount of yards. If they play 2, X plus Y. If they play 3, X plus Y plus Z, where X is positive, blah, 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 blah. Such a spread may yield interesting results with significant predictive power, but the assumption is that it would be mostly useless. Blah, blah, blah. Thus, for predicting performance, most wide receivers are hypothesized to have similar prediction values for playing 1, 2, or 3 seasons. This hypothesis could be proven wrong if successful and unsuccessful wide receivers in the NFL have significant differing values for the other independent variables. The true power of dummy variable application for this model is not with the use of a spread. Including dummy variables increase the R squared, although not perfect. Blah, blah, blah. Next step is to appropriately apply the dummy variable coefficient values to wide receivers before they enter. How could this be done? Simple. So this is what I was thinking. I was like, okay, so the dummy variables really helps my data fit. So what I should create now is a different regression where I try to predict the correct dummy variable, aka these guys like this fit the 1 year in the NFL. Guys like this fit the 2 years, 3 years. How could this be done? Simple. You could be formed on the dependent variable for seasons played or games. So I'm like using models within models. The inclusion of dummy variables allows for previously thought impossible tasks, in this case, predicting success. All right, anyways, that is a lot. And brings me way back. I mean, I am 30, soon to be 34. I wrote this paper probably when I was 21, 22, which is, for those counting at home, a long time ago. If I could do it again, going to draft the BBM here. I think it's very interesting too, and I don't have time for it, but I think it could be built off of. And there's a lot more I would do differently if I had to do it today as far as predicting their success. There's something else I want to say, but I don't remember. I think I had dreams of like selling my formula to NFL teams too. Obviously, impossible. But oh yeah, I know what I want to say. I think I am really good in stats and in economics at thinking what data should we pull to help us predict. Something I'm bad at though is I am bad at getting the data. I'm bad at giving myself the data to actually go through, like scraping the data. I didn't know how to do that. And so I think something I also wanted to do is like, I wanted to basically be like what Utical is, AKA a DFS crusher. Cause I was like, oh, if I just did this for the real NFL, doing this for fantasy football is going to be way easier. But I didn't know how to scrape the data. Like that seemed like a pain to me of like getting all these random sites and getting it into a clean Excel sheet. Claude did not exist back in 2020 or what, I don't know what year. I graduated college in 2015. So Claude did not exist then. But now AI has made this stuff easier. So, yeah. Anyways, drafting a BBM here. I'm sure many of you did not know I had that in my bag, though. Maybe I'll try to go through it, and because if I can go through it and get the thing, I can just run it on each draft class. CD Lamb, like that's what I was doing. I got all the data and then I was running it and then seeing like how descriptive was I being. I have heard of NFL Verse on R. I don't know how to use R anymore. I had like one class on it in college. I don't remember if age was included. Like, yeah, there was like some stuff that, like, maybe not. Wow, Lamb Genty, that is a awesome combo to get. Genty at 15. So it does seem like the August casual crowd is down on Genty. Chase Brown and Henry, this guy went. Jefferson Bowers, this guy went. It's an interesting thing for me to explore in the off season, as far as because if I can just clean it up a little bit and get it running, I can just run it and be like, okay, here's who my model thinks will be good. Yeah, I used R Studio, not R. This is my first Lamb Genti team for sure, which is awesome to have. Yeah, what I was thinking about doing back then was like, okay, in a month I made this thing that can give you almost 70% predictive power just using combine stats and college stats. But I need to assume how many years you play. So now I'll create something that tries to predict how many years you play. But then it becomes all these like loose things that are predicting things. Like if you're 80% confident this guy plays 1 year and then you're 70% confident of his stats, like how does that all tie together? If you're signing up, you just use promo code Cheslium. I have a link in my YouTube description. This is Best Ball Mania. Jesus, a CMC Genti London team. Genti is really falling on DK then. That's the one good thing about August is I guess I'm going to be getting some mid-round Genti. A guy who I'm objectively lighter on because I have more Jefferson, Lamb, Taylor, Cook. Sure. A little bit of a fall on Chris Olave. Still have boxes everywhere. After I finish this stream, I'm going to go to my old place, drive over the last bit of stuff there, turn in the keys. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., by the way, got a 555 draft debuting on the channel. Sure. Fourth round Josh Allen is just pretty much automatic for me. Have way too much Josh Allen with James Cook. So nice to have some without him. I'm like 2,000 over the board. Let's play a bullet game for you. 2,200 bullet Lee chest currently. No, this is not what I wanted. In bullet, I don't. This is 1 minute chess, so obviously it doesn't matter, but it's the only thing I really have time for on stream. Oh, no. I'm in trouble. Way up on the clock. Up in position and the clock. It's a blunder by him. Owned, brother. Owned. Victory. Okay. Why was he owned? Because he's going to lose this pawn, and with that, the whole game. One win for the good guys. We do a lot on this channel. We did a little bit of regression talk. We did a draft on the 3 main platforms for best ball: Drafters, Underdog, DraftKings. Where else do you get this, guys? We do high stakes drafts. DJ Moore not there to go with Josh Allen, probably because he got buzzed today. Oh, it's been too long. Let's go. What's another Parker Washington amongst friends? Are you drafting Evan Ingram? Almost never. Yeah, Jadarian Price. Was hoping to get one of Price or Bucky. Team right now is Allen, Genti, Price, Lamb, Olave, P-Wash. Do you think it's bad taking a non-mobile quarterback you're really high on, unstacked, for me, Joe Burrow, when they fall past ADP? Ironic with the username Ravens. Here's the thing, Ravens. Think about, the answer is it depends. If to you that means taking Joe Burrow in the middle of 6 without stacking him, that's bad. Okay. If you're talking about taking Joe Burrow at pick 80, where he almost never goes, that's fine because he's fallen way past ADP then. So why is it bad? Because you got to think about, we are trying to set ourselves up to win the contest. Okay. Work backwards. That's what most people should be doing. How do you win? Okay. You need Joe Burrow to win. So if you need Joe Burrow to win, why is that? That's probably because Jamar Chase is going off or T. Higgins is going off. It's probably not because Joe Burrow ran in 3 touchdowns. So how are you going to beat the other Joe Burrow teams in the final to actually win $2 million if you have them unstacked? It's tough. It's possible, but tough. I don't have the coding skills to make a sim tool. If I really wanted to do that, I would contract someone, but I have no plans of doing that in the intermediate. If I want to make more money, maybe I would try to do that. You know, like Shady made that. Shady has the skills to make that. I'm sure nowadays, though, like Claude could whip something up. I've seen people vibe code some stuff like that. So 3 elite wideouts with 2 good running back bets sounds fun to me. I made one in Claude in like a week. Yeah, I've never used Claude or even Chat GPT, so it would be a learning curve for me to even learn how to do that. So tomorrow probably have a Evening stream. I'm gonna go on Davis's channel too. It's his turn for us to go there. Got a recorded video debuting at 9 a.m. And then I will go to Davis's sometime around like 3 Eastern, 3:30, and then probably do an evening stream on mine. Yeah, man. Wait, what's your buy? 14. Dak to go with Lamb. Sounds awesome. Perhaps Josh Allen does not obliterate the Dolphins week 17. Instead, it's going to be Dak destroying the Giants to Lamb. Obviously, never taking 3 QBs with Josh and Dak. Outside of Trevor Lawrence falling to like pick 150. This is my first share of Josh Downs this whole summer. I thought I was still behind ADP. I didn't really look at the ADP. I just ranked him. Potentially, we're going to get Keenan Allen signing with the Colts, in which case he'll go down. But yeah, he's fine in this range. Thank you, sir. Need help. In a 12-team, one quarterback dynasty PPR, got this offer. Give my Josh Allen and Jonathan Taylor, get Jahmyr Gibbs, Pacheco, and Dart. How much does this hurt my win now chances versus improving my future? So really the question, Pacheco we're assuming is a 0. He's not part of the equation. So really it's Gibbs versus JT versus Dart and Josh Allen. Obviously, Gibbs and Dart are the better future assets to have than Josh and JT. The thing is, I mean, Josh Allen is not that old, man. He is 30. Josh Allen may be roughly Josh Allen for another, he's not going to go straight Ben Roethlisberger and just be like getting laid up on. NFL careers are being extended. So you probably have at least another 6, 7 years of Josh Allen being what he is. Jonathan Taylor is 27. Jahmyr Gibbs is 24. Jared Goff is 31. And the Goff age matters to me because when Goff is gone, there's probably going to be a mini reset for the Lions. And then Jackson Dart is obviously a second-year player. So it's tough to say. Getting Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the most valuable things you can get. At the same time, Jackson Dart, although I love him for fantasy football, he might not be playing football or he might not be a starter in a couple of years, right? And JT's probably got another year. So I think most dynasty people would rather have the Gibbs and Dart thing, but it just doesn't feel good to ship away Josh Allen. Perhaps if you can get Gibbs and package it for like Chase and Nico or something like that. Okay. Sure. Harold Fannin. Dart could have a better fantasy year than Allen. Sure. But it is dynasty. And so if Jackson Dart is Will Levis, well, then he's a 0 in a couple of years, you know? Yeah, I would prefer a different player than Pacheco. Pacheco is just like trying to guarantee that you have Lions running back. I'm going to take Kincaid here. I don't really care that his ADP is 126. I'm going to get him sometimes at 130. But when I have no stacks with Allen is when I'm more keen on gambling, not getting Kincaid. Cost me a running back bet. Maybe Jones, I should have just taken Brooks or Gainwell, but did it like this. So the team right now is Allen, Dak, Genty, Price, Lamb, Olave, Parker Washington, Josh Downs, Harold Fannin, and Kincaid. Not taking any more tight ends or quarterbacks. Probably going to lead me to a 2-6-8-2, but to be determined. I like Kincaid more than Shakir. Again, if you missed it, beatbestball.com subs. I updated all the ranks today. I'm going to get that article out of my 3 favorite players in each round, but I think ranking came first. Record a video dropping tomorrow. And do me a favor, please hit the like, subscribe. Helps me out. Some hot button players. Neighbors goes 28. Parker Washington still goes basically where he's been going. Basically, gone are the days of Parker Washington going at the 6-7 turn, which would happen sometimes in the middle of the 6th. Doesn't happen as often anymore. You can still get him 5-6, and he slowly is probably going to climb from there. But it's just hard for him to, like, he's not going to leave Jameson Williams, and I don't think he should. Aaron Jones goes ahead of Jordan Mason in this one, something that doesn't usually happen anymore. Sure. Tyron Tracy makes a lot of sense for my team. I have the Dak Lamb stack, so it gives me week 17 correlation. I'm not drafting Cam Scatterbo, so Tracy is a clean hedge off that. Shakir goes. Probably would have taken him. I go these wide receivers a lot. It is last call for running back, though. Let's do Keaton Mitchell today. Perhaps I stop at 5 running backs with this. It's not the most comfortable, but I don't draft Tyler Warren a lot, and it doesn't have anything with me disliking Tyler Warren. It's more me and this is kind of similar logic with why I don't draft as much Sam Laporta either and Kraft, is I don't really think that these three guys should be drastically priced differently than Pitts, Fannin, Kincaid, Kelsey. These are the tight ends I draft the most of. Ferguson, Goddard. So, yeah, you're just paying for it with Warren. And it comes at the expense of like Parker Washington or Jordan Tyson or Jadarian Price or Bucky Irving. I don't think many people would trade Gibbs. I'll admit that for Dynasty, but I don't play Dynasty, so who knows? The guy could be smoothing out his exposure. Let me just check my eliminator slows to make sure I'm not gonna. Because I've been streaming for 2 hours. I don't want to auto. I think I'm good there. Yeah, I got 2 hours. I don't think Warren is close to Loveland and half point. I think Warren is good. I think he's going to do it more through receptions, though. And Loveland can win downfield. But that's how I'm betting it. If you want to bet it that way, could be right. Debo goes 140, Stribling 150. Diggs 123. I'm going to draft Flournoy. Well above his ADP, but I do not want to miss on him because I have Dak. I have a lot of Flournoy in the last round early on. I like Loveland way more than Burden. Let's do Tajay Spears today. I have almost none. Okay, bro. I see Warren closer to Pitts and Fannin than Loveland. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. $804 on 76 catches. Fannin was 706 on 72 catches. Like, what's the difference? Low IQ, dude. I can tell you just tuned in. I think I can stop at 5 running backs here. Can always justify a 6th. Don't really feel that strong at running back or wide receiver. Like, I like my top 3 dudes. You do only need 2 running backs, so it is always okay when you take 5 like I have to just kind of live with your bets. 2592, of course, is the structure I won Best Ball Mania 2 with. Jaden Blue goes. He's one of the guys I would have considered. I have won BBM one time. Kind of hard to actually win Best Ball Mania. I would have gotten second if Chase Brown didn't slide down at the 1. I can see you're having a bad day. It's okay, man. It's okay. The thing about bad days is they get better. Marshawn Lloyd goes. He's kind of like the guy I would take as a 6th running back. So probably just going to go wide out. Or 9 wideouts, I mean. Sure. Isaac Tesla. Reports at camp are he's not separating one-on-ones, and that's not what we're drafting Tesla for. We're drafting him to get touchdowns when the other guys get more covered. Well, Sadiq is injured right now, and there's a lot of target competition on the Jets. I won Best Ball Mania 2 and some other ones. Malik Washington, I would have actually taken to give me a bring back on my Bill stuff. Sure. Tank Dell, a guy I've been working the draft more recently. Let's look at the Tank Dell news. That's Rank Dell. I don't know who that is. We've already seen this, but team walkthroughs, I don't think he's actually practicing yet. He's working on things, not in pads. But I mean, the actions of a player who's trying to play in the NFL this year. This was one of my most viral tweets ever. And it's all because people are like, no, this guy I got. Kayshon Boutte getting a lot of steam. Yeah, I got a lot of him. Is he getting steam because he's going to get traded? Maybe. The thing about the Pats is when you think about their depth chart, it's hard for them to keep everyone. Now, some people are making the point of like, why don't you just cut Mac Hollins? But I think that undermine like the thing is they don't want to admit an L on Kyle Williams. Like teams just don't like to cut 3rd-round picks. So let's assume he makes the team. AJ Brown, Dobbs are locks. Mac Hollins does a lot for football teams. I don't think he's getting cut. Pop Douglas, he's maybe cuttable. But if you keep Brown, Dobbs, Boutte, Mac, Douglas, you're going to keep a 6 wide receiver. Not every team does that. So maybe you trade Boutte to open up a spot for Kyle Williams. It's hard to say. Maybe you cut Douglas. Maybe you cut Mac. Mac has familiarity with McDaniels. Okay, because the running back available is Ray Davis, I will take him as a 6th. Wasn't planning on doing that, but has fallen well past his ADP. He got banged up in practice today. It's not a big deal. Wow, Caleb Douglas goes, who I probably would have taken as a bring back. I got a lot of Wicks. Think he's a very reasonable guy. Okay, let's end this with the wide receiver. Let's do Chris Bell or Torrey Horton. Let's do Horton. Only because taking Tank Dell and Chris Bell is a little bit rich, where it's two guys who are like feasibly zeros. Horton, he's back practicing, which is huge for him. I know he has single week upside. Sometimes I'll go Keon or Skyler there. Today I didn't. Also have a bet on the Seahawks. So the team finishes up Josh Allen and Dak, Genty, Price, Tracy, Mitchell, Spears, Ray Davis, Lamb, Olave, Washington, Downs, Flournoy, Tesla, Tank, Horton, Fannin, and Kincaid. Like the teams quite a bit. Appreciate you folks hanging out and checking it out. Be sure to like, subscribe, join the Discord. Link is below. Beatbestball.com for rankings and more. 9 a.m. tomorrow, 555 draft drops as a recorded video. Peace out.